In today's episode of Hardcore Minecraft, we are making a massive medieval village in order to store farms and villages and other stuff like that. And I think it turned out pretty well, so let's get right into how we made it. Hey, welcome back. And you better go click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Go make it great. But anyway, so last episode I left us on cliffhanger, as I hadn't made it all the way back to base, but I've made it back now with all the totems safely here. So now I want to go and, well, first we'll have a quick nap here. There's nice sun. Let's have a quick nap and then we can get on with it. So, pick our bed. Now we're going to go over to the villager area, as I'm kind of running out of food. These are the last 24 golden carrots I own, and that is kind of bad. So while Hero Village is still applied, I'm going to hop down here. I'm going to use some of the emeralds from the raid farm to buy a couple of golden carrots, and hopefully we can get up to a good amount of food. That should be enough golden carrots. Let's pull the extra emeralds in this chest. Now let me introduce you to my new friend Donkey over here, and also this weird sign who has invaded our property. Let's just quickly get rid of him. Anyway, so I want to add on some chests so we can have some more storage. Maybe use them to go gathering materials at some point. Let's go into our wood chest, which we've got plenty of wood in. And we can get just 2 logs, which we can use to make some chests at the craft table. So here we go, chest. And now we can hop in here with all the animals, and we should be able to, there we go, attach it. Now we've got loads of extra inventory space for when we're off on adventures. But now let's get on to what we're doing in today's episode, and that is making this area which we've got here into a proper village, as we've already got 2 houses, a couple of fields. It's not a proper village yet, so I want to turn it into one. And to do that we'll need a couple more houses, which is what we're going to build today. I think I'm going to start by doing some outlines. Here is the first house. It's a nice sort of diagonal one, which gives it a bit of variation from the normal square houses. And now I think I want to come over here. Maybe do a small tower here maybe. While Hero Village is wearing off, the tower shape is now in there. So now I think let's go and maybe build over on that bit over there, this little hill here. Let's maybe do a more square one, but still we want to add a bit of variation in here. And also think about pathways, as I kind of want to have a pathway going down here. So I'm going to leave some space for that. We want to get a nice shape in here. For this one I've gone for a more classic shape of like the rectangle with a smaller rectangle offside. And now there's still this big gap here, so I think I'm going to come in maybe with some dirt and make a sort of well area here. Luckily we have a load of dirt in our chest. And now we can get to doing a bit of terraforming, so I think I'm going to bring it all up to this level. We can follow the natural curve of the land here. I have now completed the layout for our city here, so we've got a few buildings up here, and I've extended it around. This is going to be the border on the actual village here, and then I've got one here, recessed into the hill a bit, so I'll have to do some terraforming. And then I decided for the border here I'm going to add like a retaining wall to keep back, as I couldn't really find a good way other than extending the train all the way down to almost in there, which wouldn't really work that well. Then we've got a few smaller houses, and I did run out of deep slate, which is why I used tuff here. This is where this path will come around to, and maybe go through here connecting to the village path. But now it's time to start gathering materials. So I know I want to use quite a bit of this jungle wood and also quite a bit of this dark oak wood, as it's quite a nice block and I don't think I've used any of this recently. So I think it'd be a good chance to use some. I think that's enough wood gathering for now, as we've got quite a bit of mangrove wood for how hard it is to gather, reasonable amount of dark oak, and enough of jungle. So let's go down into caves to gather some deep slate. And while we're here, we might as well gather some of the copper, as I may use it for a couple of roofs, but it's very expensive. When caving for copper, scaffolding is really your best friend, as you can easily use it to get up to the high places on the roof where there might be some copper. And then you can also easily get rid of it when you're done. I now have an entire inventory's worth of copper, so let's craft it into blocks and then we can continue mining. While mining some copper, I've also found some diamonds, which is nice, so let's mine these up. And for some reason I'm getting the advancement again, because for some reason all my advancements reset for some reason. If you know why, tell me in the comments. And also while you're down there, why not subscribe? If we quickly craft all of those blocks up, then we can get to mining some of this. So let's get to mining. With an entire inventory full, I think it's time to head back up to this. With an entire inventory full, I think it's time to head back up to the surface. Now that I've dropped all of that off, it's time to get back down into the cave so we can gather some deep slate, tuff, andesite, and all the other stuff. And down in the cave you can get started, and of course when I say deep slate I mean the cobbled deep slate. I now have a load of deep slate, so it's time to head out. I've also dug a pretty big room here, but luckily we have a little exit over here. I now want to come back up to the surface so we can gather a bit of spruce wood, and maybe also some oak. I now want to get building, as we have a reasonable amount of materials gathered in these chests, so I think it's time to get started. And to start with, let's pick a house to build. So I think I'd like to work my way around in a kind of loop around this area. So we can start with this house, Or actually, let's start with this house. This is a pretty small one to set this out. So let's see what we can do. For this house, I think I'm going to start with a similar style to my normal base, as you can see. And I want to go for some oak walls. So we'll just pillar up on all the corners, and then we can maybe fill in the walls with some planks. That looks pretty good, so let's now add in a couple of windows every now and again to make a little bit of detail in this otherwise pretty plain box. Now we've got that, I want to move on to the roof. So up here, I think I'm going to do a deep slate rim. So let's go back to our house to get some deep slate blocks. Now that we're up here, let's place them in a pretty standard rim around the house. And then when we get up to this side, I kind of want to do a slightly steeper than usual roof. So let's maybe go up by a full block there. We can do another one like that. Then bring it into the center. And there's the roof shape. So I think that's pretty good roof shape. And adds a bit of detail to the otherwise pretty standard build. After adding it on the other side, that's shape roof. So let's fill this in with maybe dark oak wood. I haven't actually used that and I kind of want to use some. So let's go get some dark oak wood. That's exactly what we need. And actually I'm going to try a new roof pattern. So let's also unload a few things that we don't really need at the moment. And then we can go and make a couple of planks. So let's maybe put 16 of these in. And then we can make some stairs and stuff. So I want to make quite a few stairs. We'll need a lot for this build. 32, we'll need a few more. So let's make as many as we can for now. And now let's fill this area in. And I of course messed up as this is meant to be a full block. So I'm going to use the stripped logs for that. And then we can do the stairs on top. And with this next row, I think I'm going to show you what I want to try out, and that's putting in some of these mangrove roots into the roof. See what that does. I wonder if that'll look good. So there's no better way to find out other than to continue building. After adding some final touches like trapdoors around any windows we have, and that's in the wrong place, the house should be done. And the house is done, and I think it looks pretty good. And this is just a small house to start off with. Now we're on to a slightly bigger one, and I want to go with a different colour palette with this one, so let's go get some blocks. So to start with, let's get our pickaxe out. Let's take our silk touch one, there we go. And then we can start by bringing this up a couple of blocks in each of the corners. Now that we've got the corners in, let's strip them, and then I think I'm going to time-lapse this build. It's now day 250 and I've finished this house over here. So let's drop down quickly to take a look. I've added a little bit of decoration on the outside to detail it, but mainly we're moving on to another structure. This one's going to be a tower. Let's get started on this. And here is our tower, all done and in the world. So as you can see, it's looking nice and tall there. But from up here on the roof of other building, it's looking even nicer. So let's go check it out. As you can see, I used the same block palette as I did for this building, using the mud bricks and that lovely jungle wood. And then at the top I've used some copper blocks, as you can see, and a load of, I think that is granite? I think I got that one right. All these stone types are so confusing. And then of course I used that roof using dark oak and mangrove roots, same as I did over on that roof. And I think it turned out pretty well. So let's quickly head down so that I can show you this little build around the corner. This is just behind this build, the tower, and the other one that we just made. And I think it looks pretty nice. This is more just to make it feel less like it's a big line surrounding the field, as before it was. I think it turned out pretty well. This is probably one of my favourite builds so far, other than this one, which is probably my favourite. But this one is turned out very well, I think. They decided to use scaffolding in the windows rather than gas, just to change it up a bit. Also, I think I'm going to add on one more window here, just because it was looking a bit empty on this side. And all the upper windows I have used glass still though. So that's that. But now I want to come in and remove this layout we've got here of the house. So instead of putting a house here, I want to put a custom tree in. As at the moment we've got a lot of these buildings and it's quite harsh. There isn't much plant life separating it, so I think a custom tree would really help. To start with, I think I'm going to build up the trunk. So I think the center is going to probably be maybe here. So this is going to be the main trunk of a tree. And of course we want a couple of branches coming off here. I think that should do. We can maybe add one fence there. That'll do for the lower part of the tree. Now if we get a water bucket, we can go up to this higher portion. And here I'm going to go up a few blocks, and then we can maybe start bringing the branches out. I've now got a nice branch structure, so I can come in with some of these fences, and I haven't got many. I'll just dot them every now and again around at the end of these branches, just to make it a little more detailed. It seems we have a couple of visitors, so let's just eliminate them quickly using our trusty sword. There we go, and for this one I've got slightly different treatment. There we go. Nothing ever happened here. Now I just need to figure a way to get out of this hole. We can now come into the forest with our shears and do a bit of leaf mining. With the leaves acquired, it's time to apply them to the tree. So let's just give it a good old sprinkling. After adding in all of the leaves and also this little border around it, we have this really nice custom tree here, which I think really adds to this area. And then we've also got this build behind us. And this is our new house that we've got here. And I think it turned out pretty well, so I decided to use some campfires here. Of course, no interior yet, we can do that later. None of these have interiors yet. But as you can see, it's got a slightly different shape to the usual boxes that we have. And I've also gone for a different colour palette. So I really like this one, as it's different from the other ones and changes it up a bit. This is probably my favourite now, though also the tower I rather like. But anyway, I'd now like to move on to this house up here on this hill. and see what we can do here. I think I'm going to start with this shape, so we'll have one roof line there, one roof line running down here, and then another roof going across this corner. So let's go into a quick time lapse to build this. I think with that the house is done, and this one stands out quite a bit with its very different colours, with bright red and mangrove planks, and also a few mangrove logs mixed in, like right here. That has a tiny bit of texture. Then of course we've got the same windows as all the other houses, and a nice door, and I think it turned out pretty well with a very nice shape. And from up here on this other roof, the shape really comes out, and as you can see it's pretty unique with two different houses almost combined into one. And then from this angle it's also pretty interesting, and yes, I did do the back here. So in total we've got a very nice shape here. To continue working our way around this field and house in the centre, I think I'm going to work on this house next. Let's start by putting in some pillar support. With some supports now in, we can get to building, and I actually want to remove this bottom layer here quickly, as I didn't do that for the past two houses, as I think it fits a bit better. But for this one I'm going to remove it again. And here is the build. After that time lapse I did come in and add in a few details like the windows. And also bone milled some ground around it, and around a few other places, just to kind of border it off from the bit that we're not going to be building on for now. So we've got this little house tucked away in here. Of course, no interior yet, but we've got plenty of space when we do come to doing the interior. But anyway, now I'd like to turn the attention to this bit, and this is where it kind of borders onto the village. And as you can see, I've made this kind of shape here already. And this because I want to do like a retaining wall around here. And I want to now bring it all the way across here. Just follow this line all the way here, connect it up, and then we can have a pathway going along beside it, which will run down here, pathway will run around and along here. So we get a nice path to follow. For this I think I'm going to use some jungle wood, as I've got quite a bit of it and I think it looks pretty nice for this use. And of course I'm going to strip it, we're not just going to be leaving it as it is. So let's go around now, adding in this around it, and any bits like this we'll just extend it all the way to the bottom. And any flowers and grass we can just remove. Here is the wall, and now we just need to come in and strip all of these logs. Now that we've got all that done, we just need to fill this layer in so it's all flat. And then we can maybe make a custom tree in this area. With a custom tree in, which is basically the same as that, just this one is a bit taller and slightly bigger. We've now completed this area. I also added a few bushes, and I also built this house up here. This is just a simple small one, so I did it pretty quickly. And as you can see, it fits in quite nicely, and this is where the road will run through. So now I like to move on to this one. Then we've got one more house before I can call this project done. And here it is, the finished house, and it fits in pretty nicely in here. Maybe a bit close, but I think it's alright for now. And as you can see, this is a bit different in colour, and it's quite a bit taller than the rest. I think it works pretty nicely with birch and the oak, and also azalea. This is one of the nicer ones in this village. And now it's time to move on to the final house. So as you can see, I've marked out some spots. This is where we're going to put some support pillars, and we're going to be doing the same kind of pattern as we've got here for the creeper farm decoration. Anyway, let's get right into building this one up. And there is the house, other than the door, which I seem to have forgotten, but this is another reasonably big house, and I think it turned out pretty well, but I'm not so sure about that roof being much lighter than the rest of the build. I think it suits it kind of nicely. And that's basically it, so I went for the same block palette as we have on that build. As on all the rest, I've been using more woods, and as you can see from these couple of builds, I thought I'd bring it back from that tower over there, and use the same kind of pattern as in here as well. But now I want to extend these pathways, so at the moment we've just got one leading up here, just ends. So I want to bring it all the way around, and I want to have it trace through this village and follow this curve I've got here, so I've left a gap for that purpose. Then here I'm going to have a sort of town square, so I'm going to have a lot more pathway here, and then we can maybe continue extending it along this way. But to do that I'll need some more mud, so it's time to go back to Mangrove Swamp, and I've cleared my inventory a bit so we can gather plenty of it up. Now that we're back home with a load of mud in our inventory, it's time to get a bit of wheat. As to make mud bricks and packed mud, we'll need more than that, so let's take some of our wheat seeds and go over to our micro wheat farm to get some more. Here we go, just through the field, and then we can just flick that and start bone mealing. And we should be getting wheat pretty soon. Now that we have plenty of mud and also wheat, we can take some of the wheat out and also some mud and convert it into packed mud. We'll need quite a bit of this for our pathways, as we've got quite a few of them in this village that we're making. Now we just need to make some more of these pathways, so I think I'm going to start by having one extend down this way, so we'll continue this pathway down here. So let's start going along here. Now have this really nice path installed here, and by the way, this has taken me about a week so far to build all of this, so if you're liking it so far, you might as well subscribe. But anyway, so these pathways aren't quite finished, as you can probably tell, as you still need to add in some coarse dirt, so let's go and make some of that. I've now gone into the caves and got a load of gravel, so let's go up and take a bit of dirt from our chest, and we've got quite a bit, so that shouldn't be too much of a struggle. There we go, and now we can make plenty of coarse dirt, just like that. Now we just need to add it on the edges of these paths. So So let's get placing. After adding in a few torches, it is now day 300, and I think we are finally done with this village. So let's turn on the shaders quickly. Here we go. Turn on the shaders like that. This will decrease our frames, but we'll still be able to play. And let's have an explore around here. So we have first house we built, pretty dark, so I think I'm going to put a torch there to light up a bit. Let's follow the path down here. This is still day 300, so we've officially survived 300 days building a village in hardcore Minecraft. To keep following, we have all these houses down here going around the wheat field. Another custom tree. I think I'm going to add one more of these little lampposts here. Let's add one here like that. There we go. The frame rate isn't the best. Let's keep following down this path. And this is the final build. And I think it turned out pretty nicely. So that's going to be all for today. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to subscribe.